Welcome back, you guys. You just read a non-smoker fined for dropping cigarette. Well, if you think about getting fined or not paying those fines, you might end up in jail. That's not a place where you might think to find innocent people, but newsflash, there are many innocent people that end up in jail. Not saying that everyone in there is innocent. The law tries to do its diligent duty to find out who deserves to be in jail, but sometimes some cases slip under, and there could be circumstances like the one that you read in the article. Miss Natalie Walton from England. So what happened is that her parents got a notice for a fine of Miss Natalie. And to her it was very outrageous because she hadn't even been to her hometown. So she had moved out to Staffordshire, perfect pronunciation. She had been in Staffordshire, and she hadn't been to her hometown in Kent, where she received the fine, which was in a nearby village. So to her, it just didn't make sense. She also, luckily, had the actual receipts to prove that she wasn't anywhere near there. She was like more than 300 kilometers away doing some shopping on the day of. So she went to dispute this, and they showed her the pictures, and that wasn't even her. That wasn't even her in the pictures. And because she was able to prove that it wasn't her, like, it was dismissed. The crazy thing is that the person that they did give this fine to, when they talked to the police, they gave Natalie Walton's name, and they gave her former address. So it comes, begs a question like, who is out to get Natalie? Maybe a former high school friend who has a personal vendetta? Maybe somebody who she rinsed their noodles with tap water? We don't know, but
revenge.
Yeah, revenge of the Bibi. But it's even though it's a minor offense, albeit minor, it's good that she was able to resolve this, and hopefully, she has ways to prove her innocence in the future if this happens again or to anybody else. It's quite wild that you can get accused of something and you're not even in the same place.
Yes, right.
And who would do that? Give your name so you can get in trouble?
That feels like a bigger crime.
Yeah.
To lie to a police officer like that.
Yeah, take that person to jail. Straight to jail.
Or even bigger fine, I think.
Yeah. So littering is a big offense, right? A lot of people think that it could cause a lot of damage to nature, or it's also unsightly, and it's just rude to throw things down on the floor because somebody else is going to have to come pick it up. So what do you think are the best ways to prevent people from littering?
I think the only real way to stop people from littering is to have public trash cans. But unfortunately, I think people take advantage of them, especially maybe in Korea because of the paid trash and recycling system that they have here. People don't want to pay for their own trash bags, and so people will sneakily bring all of their trash from home and then put it in a public trash can. And when people like that take advantage of the system, then obviously the council or local government will take away the trash cans for other people. But if I'm honest, when I am out and about, I don't really generate a lot of trash, I feel like. Usually I have like a bottle of water, a bottle of soda, and I always keep the empty bottle just, unless I happen to see a recycling trash can. Usually I end up taking everything home with me. But I definitely see a lot of people litter, like dropping, maybe like the plastic covering from cigarette packets, and they drop the plastic on the floor. I see, that's the thing I most frequently see. And sometimes I take a note of it. I'm like, and I really want to pick it up, but I'm like, oh, maybe their hands are dirty. I don't want to pick it up. And then especially if I see a trash can nearby, I'm like, oh, you're so lazy. Just take it 10 feet that way and put it in a trash can.
Steps ahead.
So I think that's just the best way, making sure that there's publicly accessible trash cans.
Right, or in some like busy areas. So just recently, it's something that I also kind of struggle with, but because I know that I shouldn't litter. When riding the bus, let's say you were drinking a drink and you have a little bit left, but they don't allow you to ride on with a kind of, even if it's a closed container, but you know how they have the big holes in the straw? they won't allow you to get on the bus with that, but you have to catch your bus. So what I see many people do, they'll drink it and they'll like put it on the corner of the bus waiting zone. So there's just a pile of
I've seen that too.
half-drunk cups, and I mean, I understand because I also hate it where I have to put it into my backpack very carefully, make sure that nothing spills, just so I can throw it away at some other place. But I wish that there were more trash cans for these kinds of situations. I think people would be more likely to just throw it into the bin than just make a pile of it in some place.
See, in that situation too, I always tip the liquid down the nearest drain, especially if it's just, or if it's ice cubes from something that are
But what if
clean.
it's
I put them on the bottom of
tea? You get little bubbles floating.
I would never leave. I'll miss my bus for a bubble tea. It's okay. But if it's just liquid, I always just tip it in the drain, and then I will keep that plastic cup because it's not really a leak risk at that point. So I just put it in my bag so the bus driver doesn't see, and then I put it in a trash can wherever I get off the bus.
Or bus drivers should have trash cans in their buses.
Yeah, maybe.
Please.
Usually they have that little one.
No,
but
it's like
I was gonna say
teeny-tiny.
it's like this big, the trash can on the bus.
Only
You
one,
can't.
one Kleenex with one booger
Yes.
fits in there.
Gross.
Oh, expanding on the previous question, are there any circumstances in which you feel like you have no choice but to litter?
The only place that I can think of, but I also have never done it, is Japan. So Japan had an incident many years ago of a bomb that went off in the subway system. And so now there's no trash cans anywhere. And whenever I go to Japan, because this is a place where I am eating like out and about in the street because I want to try some delicious foods or like things on the convenience store, I end up with so much random like junk in my bag. That's the only place where I feel like I'm burdened by having trash in my bag, but still I've never dropped anything on the floor. My parents raised me to never do that. So I never have the urge to drop anything on the floor. And the only other time is what we were talking about, like ice cubes at the end of a drink, but it's water, so it's not like I don't feel like I'm polluting anything by tipping it in the drain. It ends up there anyway.
Right.
How about you?
Well, for me, it has been where if I got something to eat and it was especially messy and like greasy and like just oily, it's just too much going on, I don't want to put that in my backpack. So I will do that thing. Korea, don't come for me. I will find the trash can or
the bag and pop it on
yes,
top.
and I'll put it on top because at least I don't just want to throw it somewhere or create a new area of trash. But
I feel like that's more acceptable than just people like dropping stuff on the floor. So at least you're in a designated trash
like,
area.
What do I do with this? But I try to limit. So if I can, I'm always wearing a backpack. I'll just put the trash into my backpack or in my long pockets, and then at the end of the day I'll get home and just throw all this trash from my pocket as best as I can. It's something to keep in mind where you litter, how you deal with the trash that you have, and also how you are able to prove your innocence if you had been littering or not. Make sure you use the vocabulary that you learned today and use it in your day-to-day. We'll see you in the next article.
News flash.
News flash.
Litter.
Litter.
Make no sense.
Make no sense.
Do the trick.
Do the trick.
Out of the blue.
Out of the blue.